Of course, we're being live from you, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. It's another day to be happy, another day to look into the critical issues burdening you and I as a people. And of course, you know, Eyes on Issues comes your way every Tuesday and Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. And of course, we'll always be bringing you up to speed with the latest development across the course of the week. A lot of dust has been raised about the movement, the banning of doctors, or the report by the UK government. They are no longer going to prioritize recruiting medical doctors and other professionals from Nigeria without a government-to-government kind of collaboration and agreement. And of course, this is coming on the heels of the National Assembly and the bill is proposing 5 years of active service in Nigeria before a medical doctor can be considered for the award of a license certifying him or her as a professional certified medical doctor. Now, on the heels of that, a lot of reactions have come from the Nigerians, which they have described as a move to further enslave Nigerians who are not finding it easy as far as the work condition is concerned. Now, there's also been a lot of the hands of affairs in Nigeria, talking about the president, Muhammadu Buhari, within the course of his almost 8 years, which is wrapping up in the month of May. In Nigeria, if the Nigerian medical sector was properly fixed, then we would not have a Nigerian president traveling all the way outside the country for just medical reasons. And this goes along with to say that a lot needs to be expected as far as the medical sector is concerned. The recent case of the former Deputy Senate President, DTH Channel, happens to be another scenario that has drawn the attentions of the world into the fact that Nigeria should have been birthed by or through the connection of the then Deputy Senate President, DTH Channel, but did not see the light of day for obvious bureaucratic reasons. And today in Nigeria, we're talking about a medical structure, medical facilities where we're complaining, staffs are complaining, or medical professionals about the debt owed by the respective government, particularly the federal government. And all of these issues has led to the brain drain that Nigeria's experienced over the years. As it stands, that's also very alarming to a point that the World Health Organization has blacklisted Nigeria as one of the countries who has an urgent need to address the personal ratio when it comes to by the Secretary, Nigerian Medical Association, Akwa Ibom State Chapter, Dr. Morgan. And as soon as we're able to connect him, of course, we'll be bringing him live on the show. And yes, another part that we have to look at, recall a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we brought in Fine and Tinsel and other very top-notch television series and of course films as far as the Nollywood industry is concerned. He's done a lot of jobs within and outside the shores of Nigeria, African continent, and as a veteran from Akwa Ibom State, where we will be having conversations. So look into the business of filmmaking and how that can be utilized, particularly by the incoming administration and successive administration, as a means of creating jobs for the teeming Akwa Ibom people, particularly the youths who over time have been clamoring for a place of their own and the opportunity to contribute their quota to the advancement and development of. And I recall that Association of Resident Doctors over the week, as the first course of the week, protested the fact that the Nigerian National Assembly is proposing to ensure that doctors no longer have the opportunity to immediately travel out for recruitment in their country unless there is a government-to-government understanding and collaboration. And this is coming at a point in time where Nigerian doctors are in high demand outside the shores of Nigeria. Now, these doctors have their own rights and are within their bounds, because as far as the employment, the level of productivity that you have from your employee, and at this point, the federal government isn't doing enough, because if we look at the expected budgetary allocation for the medical sector and what is actually being annually allocated for the medical sector, we'll get to find out that there seems to be a complete lack of political will on the part of our leaders. We'll be delighted to have you join us via the phone lines from where you are and tell us how you feel about the fact that rather than make a piece of legislation to ensure that government prioritizes investment into the medical sector and other sectors of the Nigerian society, they're making a piece of legislation which seems and has been described by many as a draconian law doctors. But then the Association of Resident Doctors have also said, apart from UK, that there are other countries who are still opening their borders in terms of recruitment for Nigerian medical professionals, and they are going to explore these avenues. And some persons have said we might be witnessing another all-out nationwide strike, where the issues of emolument and debt owed by the federal government to these respective medical professionals would come up again. And should that not be solved, we probably might be looking at something that happened just shortly after the COVID-19 era. We'll touch on all of this.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date education, health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyekan
every weekday from 7 a.m.
Not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, telling the African story.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by
and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally speaking, join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Glad to welcome you back. This is Ion Issues coming to you live on Spectrum Television, and we will be having this straight-up conversation with Dr. Doctor, welcome to Ion Issues. All right, thank you for joining us. Sincerely apologize for the glitch that couldn't allow us have this video conversation. But I'd like to hear you. You're the secretary for the Nigerian Medical Association in Akwa Ibom State. And there's been a lot of issues about the fact that UK doctors get licensed only after they must have practiced for about 5 years in Nigeria. We'd like to get the NMA's reaction or your reaction as a medical practitioner to these issues.
Okay, thank you very much. We also heard the news that the UK government is trying to, it is happening. And it is humanitarian policy that there are certain times where a country, the United Kingdom, will face different kinds of people for employment because the other country they were using before are seriously short-staffed and may run into humanitarian crisis. That policy is not on an individual basis. Usually, it's not government that employs doctors between UK government and Nigerian government. So individually, people who are looking for jobs in UK can still get a job and will still be employed. This is because it has happened before and people still get employment in the UK. Now, I know this is linking up to the bill at the National Assembly, at the House of Representatives, that is talking about doctors who are fresh graduates practicing for 5 years with a temporary license before they can be fully licensed and to travel abroad. A lot has been said about it, but it's quite unfortunate that I know and creating a lot of gaps in what is being given to patients in terms of treatment and health services. But it is not the right way to solve that problem. Every problem has a cause, and if you do not address the cause, you will not solve the problem the right way. That bill is that people are moving out to other countries so that you can properly solve the problem from the roots. It is not actually possible and not practiced anywhere in the world that the doctor will have a temporary license for 5 years. It is not done anywhere in the world, and if we do it, in fact, we are going to be committing what is not found anywhere else in the world. And you know the implication less to the community. You are making the doctor useless to Nigeria. In Nigeria, you don't want the person to leave, but inadvertently, you are making the person useless to the country because he's going to keep staying and practicing under the supervision of senior doctors and specialists. Mainly vision of specialists, and the government keeps paying them salary for 5 years, and they are not available to the country that you want to keep them for. That is the main problem with that bill, and that bill is going to also solve medical education. If people do not move after 1 year of temporary license to full license, there will be no space for those graduating from medical schools to get to be trained. So you're going to have a backlog of, at the end of the day, in few years' time, what you're going to have is that you're not even going to have people coming to medical school anymore. So in few years' time, you won't even be producing doctors. Is it the kind of chaotic system that bill can bring in the long run? You won't even be having medical students, so you won't even be producing doctors. The shortages you are trying to run away from will be worse. So that is what you're going to have.
Now let's look at how should we say we have on an average the number of doctors 200 to 500 graduating from medical schools, and these 500 who are not even enough to handle the patient-doctor ratio in Nigeria are not given the grounds to practice individually. How do you think that is?
Once you graduate, say you graduate 200 people, and by next year you graduate again, and by next year you graduate again, all of them are joining the pool of those with temporary license. And they must by law be practicing under supervision of specialists. That means you're going to clock the space for progression. You're going to clock the space where these doctors would have gone and be available to communities to provide service for patients. So they're going to stagnate in one place and service, especially in rural communities. So you're going to just have these doctors clock the teaching hospitals in Nigerian hospitals. And these doctors would have been available in those areas to treat them and offer services. But if you keep them, they are not going to offer the service. They are not going to be available to those communities. So larger percentage of Nigerians would not have doctors attending to them.
What would be your advice to the government and Nigerians at this point?
Well, the solution to the problems are simple. And I believe that the solution is available for anybody to see, and almost everyone knows what the solution is. The solution stems from the actual reason why doctors, you find that there are people who have practiced medicine for many years and do not have anything to show for it. They cannot even assist their family members. So, and we will see when you go on the internet, you look at what your friends who were with you in medical school are earning abroad. You are attracted to it and you want to go there and end the same thing. So you find out that you see the gaps in the society, in the healthcare sector. You cannot fill it because you don't have the financial muscle to do so. But you see some people who have gone out, they get money from outside and come back and set up a clinic that is able to solve a particular problem that you've seen in that community. You need to also have active private sector participation in healthcare delivery system to be able to have a good healthcare system in Nigeria. But you can't do that. You see doctors work in Nigeria, what they are paid is so small that they cannot even go into. Is to one look at the security of the country. You need to improve on security. Let the doctors feel that they are safe. Let all Nigerians feel that they are safe in the country. So you need to look at the welfare of the doctors. You need to look at, if you look at all the countries of the world, okay, let's see the oil producing countries. You need to make the pay competitive. And then these welfare issues also have to do with working environment. You need to invest money in health, increase budgetary allocation to health. Here, this is not available here. And it is not the patient alone that is paying. The doctor is more pain, goes home, cannot sleep well because he knows what to do, but it cannot just be done because facilities are not available. The person is pain, frustrated. It is not easy watching a patient abroad. They will tell you, oh, the mortality rate for this disease, the mortality rate is 3%. That is only 3 out of 100 people abroad who have this particular disease will die. But you look at the mortality percentage abroad, what's the difference? But if the Nigerian doctor goes abroad, the mortality becomes 3% in his hands. If he practices in Nigeria, the mortality becomes 70% in his hands. So sometimes it's depressing. So the country needs to invest more in the healthcare delivery system and make the doctors happy to practice.
Morgan, truly appreciate your contributions on our issues today. We appreciate you at this time.
I didn't get you.
I'm saying thank you so much for making out the time to be with us. We appreciate you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome for having me.
Have a good evening.
All right. Bye.
Well, this is Eye on Issues. We'll take just a short break, and when we come back, we'll be introducing our second guest, and of course, a veteran actor and film entrepreneur who is from Akwa Ibom State, but is with the Nigerian Nollywood industry. And we'll be talking about film, the creative industry, and the business of filmmaking, and how to navigate and make it better and more productive for Akwa Ibomites. Stay with us.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian. Education, health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken
every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Television. Of course, we're beaming live from the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. We just finished having a conversation with Dr. Usenebo Morgan, of course, talking about the current issues bordering on doctors' welfare, of course, the lack of proper investment in the medical sector in Nigeria, and bordering on the piece of legislation currently at the National Assembly, and of course, the fact that the UK got creative industry in Akwa Ibom State, and I've been joined live by manufacturing actor, one who has been a trailblazer in the medical industry, and I'm very proud to say an Akwa Ibom son.
You're going in.
Alright, so I had to cut switch there and just greet him in my language just to test.
I've almost been everywhere trying to talk to people, you know, get people's mind tuning to seeing how they can support the arts. Shocking enough for me, I got to find out that there's a lot of talent, beautiful talent, you know, waiting to be exported. Music, comedy, film, another aspect of the creative endeavor. So we just have to get going as soon as possible. How we are going to go about it, maybe you out there will tell us in Akwa Ibom.
Okay, how we are going to go about it, definitely we'll have to look into that now, the industry. But I'd like to start from here. What do you think we are doing wrong as a people, which has been why our talents are not selling in the global space?
I think it's the might to step out of the box. Box meaning Akwa Ibom. It's but you know, I met a young man who was one of the producers there, and he has done something. I mean, I heard the music being played while I was on, and I was like, is that music from here? And he said, this is the guy that produced it. I was like, oh my goodness. And I asked them, what have you been doing with this music? This music is good enough to be exported. The next thing, no, I don't have someone. And that kind of made me to, you know, wonder what is holding our people here, because even the social media, the song is good and you go on Instagram, do a short video of it, find something that can make people pay attention, they will enjoy the music and it will go viral. Someone will hear, someone will spot you out. A young girl from, I think, a Delta or so was spotted by OBO, just I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the girl, all the way from where in one village, is in Lagos, about to export. So I think we are timid. Aside from the fact that I know that I was talking with Pastor Goody today, we were talking about how back in the days, it's just for you to just buy a bottle of drink for the presenter who is your friend, buy him food, and then look, please promote this, and the person goes with, oh, as long as the music is good and the music is promoted. But right now, some radio station, if you don't have 1.5 million, you can't even get to start promoting your work. So maybe they are looking at it that
I'm not utilizing these other platforms like you've mentioned.
I think they have been just lazy. I think it's laziness, because a lot of people, quite a number of persons are making money on the platform. I was telling a friend today, I said, every 29th of the month, dollars are being doled out to those who have presence on social media with a number of followers. So why can't they engage? See what the guys for that she's in her 40s. I think Lady Prem or something Prem. I don't know where she put it. You may not know that she's from, but she speaks Anang. She uses things, you know, around to admonish women, men, you know. And I was following her from Lagos on Facebook, and she's catching on, you know. And I'm looking forward to someone like that for me to have her on my set when I'm going to work here. YouTube Music. These are places that you can easily upload your songs and just get a few friends around your area, maybe 10, 20 of them, to say, okay, please just go click. Once they see traction in terms of, you know, visitors, somebody will be interested. What is going on there? To be able to have an inroad to the government house, to be able to get support.
How many of us can get that access?
How many? The business is big. The opportunity for entertainment is big, and I will keep talking. Every opportunity that I have, I'll keep talking. I've been talking to a few persons to see how they can put some money down, you know, for us to pick these artists and push them. Because as far as they're good, as long as they are good and the music can fly,
you would literally find an entrepreneur, businessman or woman just pick up an artist and then invest because they understand how the business works. Would you also say that the lack of understanding as to how much can be made from investing in artists could also be
them? They're already seeing it as they're just playing. A lot of them, I don't think they understand the business, the show business. The show business is another money-making machine. Apart from that, it gives you access to sponsoring, and it travels everywhere. Someone here from Akwa Ibom, with all the money that they have made, I'm sure if they invest, they'll marvel at how far-reaching that little investment will take them around the world. Because once you say you are an executive industry, like I said, we'll keep talking to our people, and I hope they listen. That there's a lot of opportunities in the creative industry. A lot of opportunities. Put your money. We have platforms now.
Talking about opportunities.
Yes.
Let's come from the artists themselves. A lot of times when I interact with young people, particularly the female gender, everybody wants to be on screen. Now, apart from being on screen, being the one that is seen, are there other...
I can act. I want to be an actor. I said to them, yes, it's good to be an actor so that your face can be seen, but there are other areas of this business that you can distinguish yourself. A continuity person, continuity person. These days they call themselves script supervisor. You know, when you begin to grow big, as a continuity person, you are being sought for, because as a continuity person, you are supposed to be on every set. Every set. Not all actors are on every set, but a continuity person can be on every set. For example, DOPs. I see in churches these days, you see a lot of young ladies handling camera. Why can't some of our ladies aspire to become sport for women in filmmaking, women in the arts, women in entertainment? Why not see how you can be behind the scene, you can write, you can produce? So when they come to me, you want to be on screen, yes, but look at these other aspects that are available for you. I'm calling you. But if you're a script writer, you are still very, very relevant. If you're a script supervisor, continuity person, you are very, very relevant. If you're into makeup, you are very relevant. Costuming, these are other aspects that are very, you know, important. But people are so used to people being on screen.
Everybody wants to be a celebrity.
Everybody wants to be a celebrity.
But Akwa Ibom State has been involved in filmmaking, and if we have to compare the films we have now back to the films we had, say, back in 2006, 2005, or thereabout, when we had the likes of Cool Freema, we had the likes of the Kaiten,
Idiokok,
and all of those, you know, movies.
And Mike House said me and Atom. So you just have to catch up, because whatever you're producing these days, it has to go on YouTube. So when you go on YouTube and you see your movie and you see movies from other areas, you just have to catch up. So there's a lot of improvement. I remember back then I was invited by a known producer director. So that's some years ago, like that, about 8 years ago. And because each time I'm in the state, I want to visit every set that I can to see how I can support them with my own little other ethnic group, as if they are far better than no. Our people are quite good. And so I went on this set, somewhere between Uyo and Ikotekbede, you know, one deep village. I was so shocked to see that it was fluorescent that they were using as light. Fluorescent. I mean, it was shocking to me. I had to, but you see, I looked beyond the fluorescent. I looked at the ingenuity. I looked at the passion. I saw a locally fabricated truck, locally made mini jeep, done by them, because they've been making movies and they did well, and they're using it perfectly. That was then. Now they modified some of those equipment and they are better. Now our picture quality, you know, it's getting better. Unlike before, cameras that were used to using more sophisticated equipment. So once you understand how to use the equipment and how to apply your lighting and your sound, definitely you step up. We're not there yet. Only very few productions are making it past quality control, because now for you to be on Netflix, for you to be on Amazon, even African Magic is a standard in Nigeria. You know, when you dance and you are moving, now people are dancing and they are moving, so they are seeing what is happening outside there, and their only concern right now is how they can get these productions beyond here. Now, another issue that I was looking at, people are not actually consuming our movies are not that professionally made. So I've been talking to our people, try to step up so that our people can begin to enjoy our movies, because first, charity must begin at home. Our people should engage our industry by, you know, watching our movies, listening to our songs. Our songs are quite. Said a new program called the Happy Hour Loop, and he has me involved in it. And the area I told them that I really want the program to anchor on is the reorientation of our mindset. Let's industry in Akwa Ibom, not just government, not just governance. And I know that once money comes in, which is the next step, what to see how we can get Bank of Industry involved for small loans. You know, people can get up to 20-30 million, be able to sell. So these are the things that I'm looking forward to, that will work in the shortest time possible.
Okay, we're almost running out of time, but I wouldn't let you go without asking this. And we're still going to administration in Akwa Ibom State have been fingered as being complacent with investing in the entertainment industry. What do you think, if you're given the opportunity to advise, say, the incoming administration, because Governor Odomi Manuel would soon be leaving office, what would you advise the incoming government to do to ensure that, you know, up to better the lives?
Okay, I will start with this outgoing government, because I don't think much has really been done for the creative industry by this present government, and I don't want to blame the governor too directly for it. I want to blame the advisors around, because people were appointed, some from the creative industry, who was centered in terms of what they got from being in that office, and by that it did not transcend into helping the industry grow. I'm looking is PAs, entertainment PAs, so people who have a voice. I found that in the past government, people find it very difficult to approach the government on any issue. I don't know why that is, because for me, as long as I'm human, there's nobody I can talk to. Is that you take the idea, or you do not talking at all, because you don't know how the person is going to wake up the next morning. We're going to find a medium that will engage, either through media like this. We'll keep talking and let the government know that these are the possibilities. We're not quarreling, we're not fighting. We want to also add to the GDP of the state, you know, but we need you to give us an enabling platform so that everybody can have access to. But we're hoping that the next government will do something tangible, something more concrete that would be long-lasting for the entertainment industry here in Akwa Ibom.
All right, thank you so much, Dan Chris, veteran actor, and of course a proud Akwa Ibom son.
I hope with this viewpoint of mine I've been
Vince, and many thanks for being there for us. This is how far we can go on Eye on Issues. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.